God isn't whispering, He's calling you out. You feel it. You've felt it for far too long. That restless pull in your chest, that pressure that somehow never goes away, that strange tension between who you are and who you know you're supposed to be. You've been pretending you don't hear it, acting like it's just stress or confusion or timing. You've been calling it maybe later, not yet, once things calm down, once I'm ready, once I fix myself, once life gets easier. But deep down you know the truth, that voice isn't small. It isn't subtle. It isn't some gentle whisper in the background of your life. It's loud. It's bold. It's been shaking your soul from the inside out. God isn't whispering. He's calling you out. And you've been trying to negotiate with the call, bargain with it, delay it, dilute it. You've been trying to make destiny fit into your comfort zone when destiny was designed to break it. You've convinced yourself that you're waiting on a sign, but the sign has been hitting you over the head repeatedly. You're not lacking signs. You're lacking obedience. You're not lacking clarity. You're lacking courage. You're not lacking guidance. You're lacking the willingness to move. You're not stuck because God is silent. You're stuck because you keep pretending you didn't hear Him the first 100 times. There is a moment in everyone's life when the call of purpose stops being gentle and starts being confrontational. When the nudge becomes a shove. When the whisper becomes a command. When the universe stops accommodating your excuses. When life stops protecting your comfort. When God stops allowing you to shrink yourself. You are in that moment right now. That's why nothing feels peaceful about staying where you are. That's why your spirit feels like it's overheating. That's why your mind keeps circling the same things over and over. That's why you can't relax into the version of yourself you've been pretending still fits. God isn't whispering. He's calling you out of hiding, out of procrastination, out of fear, out of self-sabotage, out of who you used to be, out of the story you've been telling yourself. Out of the limitations you've accepted, out of the environment that stunts you, out of the mindset that keeps you small. You've been waiting to feel ready, but readiness is a myth you cling to so you don't have to act. No one steps into their calling feeling qualified. No one steps into destiny feeling fully confident. You grow into readiness after you move, not before. And the longer you wait for the perfect moment, the more life passes you by while you rehearse excuses you don't even believe anymore. The call on your life is not waiting for your feelings to catch up. It demands action, not comfort. It demands conviction, not convenience. It demands surrender, not safety. The reality is you already know who you're supposed to become. The vision isn't vague. The dream isn't unclear. The steps aren't mysterious. You know exactly what needs to be done, and that's why you feel the pressure. You're not confused, you're avoiding. You're not lost, you're resisting alignment. You're not uncertain, You're afraid of stepping into responsibility, visibility, accountability, transformation, because stepping into your calling means losing the luxury of playing small. It means no longer blaming your past. It means no longer hiding behind potential. It means no longer letting fear speak louder than faith. It means letting go of the familiar identity that kept you safe but limited. It means stepping into a bigger life that demands a bigger version of you. And frankly, God is tired of watching you downgrade yourself. He's tired of watching you make decisions based on fear instead of faith. He's tired of watching you shrink because you don't want to make others uncomfortable. He's tired of watching you apologize for being chosen. He's tired of watching you sabotage opportunities because you don't feel worthy enough. He's tired of watching you stay loyal to environments that don't honor who you're becoming. He's tired of you praying for elevation and then running from every ladder he places in front of you. He's tired of you asking for clarity when you already know the answer. He's tired of you asking for signs when the entire universe has been screaming the direction at you. You're not waiting on God. God is waiting on you. You've treated your calling like an option when it was supposed to be an obligation. You've treated purpose like a hobby when it was meant to be your identity. You've treated growth like a risk when stagnation is what's actually killing you. You've been holding your future hostage while blaming everything but your own hesitation. You think you need more time, but time is the one thing you're running out of. You think you need more reassurance, but reassurance won't eliminate fear, action will. You think you need someone to come save you, validate you, push you, motivate you. But you've already been given everything you need. You aren't lacking support. You're lacking discipline. You aren't lacking talent. You're lacking consistency. You aren't lacking opportunities. You're lacking the courage to say yes to them. Your calling is not an idea. It's an assignment. And you know exactly what the assignment is, even if you've been pretending you don't. That restlessness you feel is not doubt, it's spiritual urgency. That discomfort is not confusion, it's misalignment. That pressure is not stress, it's destiny demanding room to expand. When God calls you out, He doesn't do it quietly. He shakes everything that isn't meant to stay. He disrupts everything that keeps you comfortable. He stirs up dissatisfaction in places you've outgrown. He closes doors you were never meant to beg for. He removes people who can't go where He's taking you. He makes you feel spiritually claustrophobic so you finally move. You're not supposed to still be where you are. You know it. You feel it. You've outgrown the room. You've outgrown the version of yourself that survived but never thrived. You've outgrown the environment that validated your insecurities. You've outgrown the relationships that depend on you staying small. You've outgrown the excuses that used to sound convincing. You've outgrown the fear that once controlled you. The old you is expired. The new you is overdue. And God is not whispering, maybe think about changing. He's commanding, move now. This is the season where hesitation costs too much. This is the season where excuses attract consequences. This is the season where delay becomes self-destruction. This is the season where obedience accelerates everything. This is the season where courage is currency. This is the season where you stop waiting and start becoming. You weren't created to play safe. You weren't created to blend in. You weren't created for average. You weren't created for comfort. You weren't created to remain hidden. You weren't created to apologize for being called. You were built for impact. You were designed for purpose. You were shaped for influence. You were crafted for greatness. Not the soft, sugar-coated kind of greatness that makes everyone like you, the gritty, demanding, disciplined greatness that forces you to rise above who you've been. The calling on your life is bigger than your fear. Bigger than your insecurities. Bigger than your doubts. Bigger than your past. Bigger than your mistakes. Bigger than your self-image. Bigger than your circumstances. Bigger than anything trying to hold you back. But greatness never arrives wrapped in comfort. It arrives wrapped in responsibility, sacrifice, courage, confrontation, obedience. And here's the truth you keep trying to avoid: the life you want is on the other side of a version of yourself you've been afraid to become. That powerful version. That disciplined version. That relentless version. That focused version. That healed version. That unapologetic version. That bold version. That obedient version. That chosen version. That unstoppable version. That version is waiting inside you, pounding at the walls you've built around yourself. And God is pushing you, forcing you, calling you to release it. You've been praying for transformation, but transformation requires death, the death of the old identity, the old behaviors, the old patterns, the old dependencies, the old excuses. Transformation requires shedding everything that made you comfortable but kept you mediocre. You want a new life, but you keep trying to bring your old habits with you. You want elevation, but you still cling to the weight you refuse to drop. You want acceleration, but you still walk like someone who hasn't decided which direction they're going. It's time to step into the version of yourself that scares you. The version that doesn't negotiate with fear. The version that doesn't procrastinate. The version that doesn't dilute its power to make others comfortable. The version that doesn't ask for permission to be called. The version that doesn't wait to feel ready. The version that moves when God says move. The version that does the work even when no one is applauding. The version that holds itself accountable. The version that refuses to settle. The version that refuses to repeat the past. The version that refuses to shrink for anyone or anything. You've been through too much to stay small now. You've fought too hard to stay silent. You've survived too many storms to pretend you're weak. You've rebuilt yourself too many times to keep doubting your resilience. You've overcome things that should have broken you. You've endured battles no one knows about. You've carried pain that would have crushed a lesser person. You've risen from situations that were meant to bury you. There is nothing weak about you. Nothing average about you. Nothing accidental about you. The calling on your life is proof that God trusted you with something bigger than yourself. If you weren't built for it, the call wouldn't come for you. God doesn't invest purpose in people who plan to waste it. He doesn't call the fragile, He strengthens the called. He doesn't demand perfection, He demands obedience. He doesn't expect you to be fearless, He expects you to move despite fear. He doesn't need you to be qualified, He qualifies the one who answers, but He will not force your destiny on you. He will challenge you. He will confront you. He will call you out. But He will not carry you where you refuse to walk. The next level of your life requires your participation. The next door requires your hand on the handle. The blessing requires your willingness to receive it. The breakthrough requires your willingness to break something, a pattern, a habit, a cycle, a mindset, a fear. The shift requires your willingness to shift. The growth requires your willingness to let go. The elevation requires your willingness to leave the ground you've been clinging to. You keep saying you're waiting for the right moment. But the right moment is every moment you decide to stop wasting. You keep saying you're waiting for a sign. But the sign is the ache in your spirit that refuses to quiet down. The sign is the dissatisfaction with a life you know you've outgrown. The sign is the anger you feel toward your own excuses. The sign is the vision that haunts you. The sign is the potential that torments you. The sign is the voice of God calling you out of who you were and commanding you to step into who you were always meant to be. And here's something you don't want to admit yet: the people around you can already feel the call on you. They see the shift even if you refuse to acknowledge it. They sense the power in you, the growth in you, the elevation in you. Some are intimidated by it. Some are inspired by it. Some are threatened by it. Some want to keep you where you are because it benefits them. Some want to follow you where you're meant to go. But none of them can walk the path for you. None of them can answer the call for you. None of them can live your destiny for you. You have to do it. And you have to do it now. Your calling is not waiting for when life gets easy, because life may never get easy. Your calling is not waiting for perfect conditions, because conditions are shaped by movement, not hesitation. Your calling is not waiting for the fear to disappear, because fear disappears after obedience, not before. You've been built for pressure. You've been built for battles. You've been built for growth. You've been built for seasons that stretch you. You've been built for challenges that transform you. Stop acting like you're fragile when God designed you to be fierce. Step into the arena. Step into the fire. Step into the responsibility. Step into the pressure. Step into the version of yourself you've been avoiding. You are not who you used to be, and deep down you know it. The old you is gone. The old mindset is incompatible. The old patterns can't follow you. The old fears are expired. The old limits don't apply. You are being called into a higher identity, and God is not whispering anymore. He's calling you out with force, with urgency, with purpose. This is your awakening. This is your disruption. This is your confrontation. This is your divine summons. This is your moment. You don't need another reminder. You don't need another sign. You don't need another confirmation. You need to move. You need to rise. You need to answer, and when you finally say I'm coming, everything that's been locked up for you begins to shake. Doors that stayed shut because you stayed silent begin to open. Strength you never had access to begins to rise. Peace that once felt foreign begins to feel natural. Opportunities you thought were gone forever reappear in forms you're finally mature enough to handle. The world starts rearranging itself around your obedience. Not because things suddenly get easy, but because you finally step into alignment, and alignment is louder than fear, stronger than doubt, deeper than excuses. But don't misunderstand this moment. Answering the call doesn't mean you wake up tomorrow with everything figured out. It means you wake up with war in your spirit and conviction in your chest. It means you stop negotiating with who you're not. It means you stop treating your potential like an option. It means you stop swinging between belief and self-sabotage. It means you finally step into the force you were designed to be. Because you are not here to tiptoe through life. You are not here to repeat cycles you were meant to break. You are not here to stay trapped in versions of yourself that were only meant to carry you through temporary seasons. You are not here just to survive. You are here to rise. You may still feel fear. Move anyway. You may still feel unqualified. Move anyway. You may still feel unprepared. Move anyway. Every warrior God ever called trembled at the beginning. Every leader he ever raised questioned themselves. Every giant slayer doubted their aim at first. But the call doesn't go to the ready, the call goes to the chosen. And you've been chosen. That's why you feel the pressure. That's why you feel the pull. That's why your spirit is restless. That's why you can't shake the feeling that there's more for you, because there is more, and it's not waiting for someday. It's waiting for you to stop hiding behind the illusion of not yet. Your life doesn't change when you understand your calling. It changes when you stop running from it, and let's be honest, you've been running. You've been dodging the responsibility that comes with destiny. You've been putting your potential on layaway like it's something you can claim when things settle. You've been convincing yourself that the dream is too big, too bold, too unrealistic for someone like you. But look at your life. Look at your survival. Look at your battles. Look at your resilience. Look at how many times you've gotten back up. Someone like you? The call was built for someone like you. You are not behind. You are not late. You're simply being confronted with the truth. You can no longer stay who you were. The world needs a version of you that you haven't fully met yet. A version of you that doesn't shrink in the face of pressure. A version of you that doesn't collapse when things get hard. A version of you that doesn't wait to be rescued. A version of you that moves like they know they're called. A version of you that walks with fire in their chest and purpose in their steps. A version of you that shows up with authority, not apology. And you know what happens when you finally step into that version? The things that used to intimidate you start looking small. The obstacles that once terrified you start looking powerless. The opinions that used to paralyze you start sounding irrelevant. The storms that once shook you stop having the strength to break you. Because when you step into who you're called to be, you stop fighting for survival and start fighting for destiny. You stop reacting to life and start directing it. You stop dreaming in theory and start living in execution. Answering your calling is not about confidence. It's about obedience. Confidence grows after you start. Power rises after you move. Clarity comes after you step forward. Miracles follow momentum. Breakthrough follows obedience. Transformation follows surrender. Everything you're praying for is on the other side of movement. You're not stepping into your calling because you feel fearless. You're stepping in because the cost of staying the same has finally become unbearable. Because you're done betraying your own potential. Because you're tired of watching other people live boldly while you talk yourself out of greatness. Because you're tired of waking up with the weight of untapped purpose sitting on your chest. Because you know you weren't built for smallness. Because you're finally ready to stop living at war with your own destiny. God didn't call you out to embarrass you. He called you out to awaken you. He called you out because He put something inside you that can't be quiet any longer. He called you out because He's ready for you to step into a level of life that fear kept you locked out of. He called you out because the world needs the version of you He created, not the version you settle for. You've wasted enough time. You've delayed enough transitions. You've repeated enough cycles. You've talked yourself out of enough breakthroughs. You've waited long enough for permission that was never required. Stand up. Step forward. Move. Begin. Answer. This is the moment everything shifts, not because the world changes, but because you finally do. Because you stop shrinking. Because you stop making excuses. Because you stop pretending you don't hear the call. God isn't whispering, He's calling you out, and this time, you're not running, you're rising, and nothing in hell or on earth can stop the person who finally decides to become who they were created to be.